Testing 1 2. Testing 1 2. I think we are live. Everybody in the chat, let me know if you can hear me. Let me know how the audio is. You know the deal. It's your boy. We don't know how to set up audio on anything we do. So let me know if the music good, if it's too loud, too low, whatever it is. And we'll get this show on the road. How we doing, everybody? What's cooking? What's popping? It is your boy, Pad Chennington. We're back with another late night with Pad. Testing 1 2. I started playing both at the same time. It cut me off. You'll hear it later in the stream, everybody. But welcome back to another late night with Pad. I want to bring these back a lot going into this year now that kind of everything's settling down. The label's pretty much ready to go. You know, it's been a lot of work with that, and I'm kind of entering a phase where it's like smooth now. I know I'm working on that caretaker video, and I know I'm working on the label. So I want to bring a lot of these back. It'll be a nice little break for me, you know, maybe once or twice a week. But tonight's a very special episode. I don't really have a lot of special guests usually in this thing. Usually I just annoy you guys for like 2-3 hours. But we got the main man himself. We got Fake Fever in the crib. Fake Fever, how we doing, buddy?
What's up, man? I'm pretty good. I just rocked my knee on like the corner of my desk, so I'm struggling a little bit right now. But other than that, I'm chilling.
Beautiful. It's been a weird week for us both. I was telling Fake Fever the other night. My entire first floor of our house flooded. We're in a townhouse. My neighbor's house, like her toilet exploded or something, and it just, in the middle of the night, destroyed. Like it just came through the walls and everything. It's been a mess. I've been looking forward to this night, just hanging out, just chilling for a little. It's gonna be a nice break. But yeah, we got Fake Fever here. We're gonna be chilling for a little while. We got a lot of big things we're gonna be showcasing tonight. Getting pumped for the big vinyl release. If you don't know, April 2nd is the grand opening of Catskill Records. It's my brand new record label we've been working on for a while. And Fake Fever is that first drop, KKR 001. Surrogate, you know the deal. You know how much I love that album. And it is an honor to have him here tonight and just, you know, represent the label for that first drop. So Fake Fever, I guess if you want, let's just jump right into this. No problem.
Let's do it.
So, yeah, just tell us your complete origin story. I want you to take us all the way back to the early beginnings, because I know for me, I just always get those emails. We all get those emails from Business Casual. And right. I got a notification one day for Surrogate, and the album art just looked so cool, and that's what drew me to it. And I loved it. So I really don't even know too much about you in regards to just your whole music background. We've talked about it before, but I want to hear a little more about it. So take us back to the early beginnings. And when did Fake Fever begin? And also talk about that transition from your early musical career, because you actually do have some pretty interesting stuff before you kind of got into this online realm as Fake Fever. So just give us that transition and just share with us your story. Go for it.
Yeah, I can give you that, like a little bit of an origin story. I guess most people probably don't know anything about me at all. This project, Fake Fever, just kind of started off as like a low-key, just like little side project to kind of just try out types of music that I wasn't used to creating. I guess a little bit of a backstory. Ever since I was a teenager, like when I started playing music, I had always played either guitar or drums in like loud, heavy bands. And so I had a lot of really special experiences doing that at a pretty young age. There was a band that my friends and I started when I was like 18 years old that ended up getting some random, like internet hype or whatever. After we put out our first album, and that led to like 6 or 7 years of these really cool opportunities of like getting to tour all over the US and Europe a bunch of times, and like have some of our music featured on like TV shows and documentaries and stuff like that, and kind of like push it like our full-time job for a little while. And so I kind of had this really young exposure to like the music industry, both the good and bad sides of it. But the whole time I was doing that, I kind of had these whole other realms of music that I was equally as passionate about, with electronic music and hip hop and like pop music and ambient music and things like that. But I was more of just kind of like a passive listener, just like a fan. I didn't really have the, like the knowledge or the tools or the time to create anything like that. And then it was I think it was 2013, my friend Tim, he hooked me up with like a cracked version of Ableton 8, I think it was. And so I just really, really slowly kind of started to like peck away at creating this type of stuff, and, just sort of wrapping my head around creating music on my laptop rather than just plugging into an amp and seeing what happens with a band. And so, just took it really slow, and I would upload these little like beats and song collections under the name Fake Fever. And it was just to share with my friends. Like I literally would just throw it up on SoundCloud and then, post a link on like my own social media. And that was it. Like I didn't have any, intention to do anything more with it than that really. And so I did that for a few years and started to get more comfortable with it, making music that way and just like emulating my favorite producers really poorly. And then I think it was 2016, my computer at the time just couldn't handle it anymore. So it would like crash anytime I tried to, open an Ableton session, and like I just couldn't do anything with it, at least temporarily. And that was also around the time some newer punk bands and stuff I had been playing in kind of picked up some more steam and just took up more of my time. And so I really put this project on hold for a good like 2 or 3 years, I think. And that whole time, I kind of had in the back of my mind that I wanted to bring this project back and was still like absorbing new music and, other styles of electronic music that I wanted to incorporate eventually. But it just took a while to get to that space and that time. And then I remember it was late 2018. I finally got a new laptop, and, it was a big investment. So I really made a pact to like create as much as I possibly could for all of 2019. And that's kind of how the surrogate process started. That's kind of how we got up to like this era, I guess.
Word. Yeah. I mean, with an album like Surrogate, you feel the amount, it feels like an album that was spent so much time on. And whenever I talk to you about it and you tell me, these individual stories about the songs, like the behind Dorian and stuff, it seems like everything kind of has a story behind it, which is really, really awesome. And is there a story behind the name of Fake Fever? Like, is there a reason behind the name? How you got that name?
No, it's there is a story, but it's stupid as fuck.
Wait, is it random? Is it random word generator online?
No, it's not. Actually, it has just a little bit more thought put into it than that. It was in 2013 when I first made like my first batch of these songs. It was like 5 or 6 little beats that I wanted to put on SoundCloud, and I was actually working a like paid internship at a school at the time. And I was like in the break room or something like that, and these teachers were talking about some kid like faked a fever to get out of a test or whatever, or out of a project. And I was just like, ooh, alliteration, I like that. I'm just gonna use that. I'm going for it. And I like went home, uploaded the beats as Fake Fever. It had like a picture of a thermometer or something stupid like that. And I just kept it for better or for worse, I guess.
I love it. No, it's a fresh name. It's quick to the point.
It feels good to say, even though it doesn't mean
Fake
shit.
Fever, yeah, it is good. So you make Fake Fever, you're making these beats online, you're putting them out, and then you get up to that 2018, I'm going to go into 2019 just guns blazing, I'm going to put in the work, and I'm going to make something beautiful. And you create Surrogate. So tell us about the production of Surrogate. And if someone hasn't heard it before, what to expect. Just run us through that whole story. How you created that album.
For sure. So it was just like blind exploration, really. Like I really stayed true to that plan of from January to December 2019. Like a few times every week, I would sit down from scratch and just kind of create new loops and little song sketches and stuff. And then, like a couple times throughout the year, I would go back and refine the ones that I was the most drawn to and just kind of develop them a little bit. And I did that, with a few breaks here and there. But at the end of the year, I just had this giant like pile of pretty sketched out song ideas. And so I picked the 10 that I felt like made the most sense together, just kind of stylistically. Like I didn't want to throw too many curveballs in there. So I picked those 10 and just, found a way to tie everything with like a seamless or sort of seamless track flow, kind of like told a little bit of a story, just like thematically with the sounds, not necessarily lyrics or anything like that. I picked those 10 songs. And then what was the second part of your question?
I guess if someone hasn't heard you or Surrogate at all anymore, what should they expect going into it? If any styles that someone else, or let's say, make it a more interesting question. who are some other artists I think you can relate to your sound wise? If you think someone likes them, they might, find an interest in Surrogate, just if someone's never heard of you before.
I got you. Yeah, so that's always such a tough question from song to song, because I feel like it just changes so much, from one song to the next.
Especially with Runoff. Hate to cut you off right there, but when you guys hear Runoff, that's where you're really going to see that, where it's just
that's
completely
like a fucked
different.
up mixtape of like 10 different artists almost. But as far as Surrogate goes, there's a few kind of consistent like influences throughout. One of my favorite styles is like the LA beat scene and like Brain Feeder Records and stuff like that. So you can kind of hear that in like the laggy rhythms that I'm drawn to, and like unconventional percussion sounds and stuff like that. So that all stems from artists like Teebs and Flying Lotus and Monopoly, Baths, Shlomo, just to name a few. So I've always been really drawn to that, and those were some of the artists like why I started doing this in the first place, like years ago. But then you kind of mix that with someone like the warped melodic 90s synth sounds found in a lot of chillwave and vaporwave. And so I was definitely influenced by artists like Vape Error or Esprit, 18 Karat Affair, Cat System Corp, Satin Sheets, like all this stuff, all this kind of vaporwave stuff I'd picked up over the years. So you can kind of hear that in the melodies and like the melodic foundation of a lot of this stuff. And then with that, kind of just throw in like pop hooks here and there, because I've always been a huge fan of pop music, and just kind of across the board, like you can hear some like late 90s like Jiggy era pop and R&B stuff that I kind of heard when I was a little kid, and then like indie pop stuff from the 2000s like Pinback and Aloha, Panda Bear, stuff like that, and then more modern day stuff, like SZA and Tori Moi and Anna Wise, like things like that.
Hell yeah, that was the perfect explanation.
Throw all that together, and it sort of sounds like what it sounds like, I guess.
That's the perfect explanation of it. And before we keep going, what we're going to do tonight is actually we're going to be releasing some. You're going to see stuff that has never been dropped before online anywhere. We're actually going to be premiering a music video for Dirty Plastic, as well as some other stuff from Fake Fever. We got a bunch of stuff we're going to be showing tonight. We're actually going to get to one of them in just a bit. But what I want to do real quick is just say what's up to the chat. Everybody in the chat, thank you all for coming out tonight. We got a bunch of people. We got Fiverr in the chat who mastered the vinyl for Surrogate. Killed it. Like it is beautiful. It sounds so good. So big shout out to Fiverr. What's going on, Moose? Aiden Chick. I love my boy Aiden. How you doing? Villain in the chat. Everybody knows how much I love that label. Putting out some of the prettiest stuff I've seen in a long time, and I really look up to everything you're doing. So keep up the great work with that.
Oh yeah, shout out to the chat. I can't see the chat right now because I'm on my porch because my connection inside my house sucks.
Is it cold? But it is pouring here.
No, I got like a sweatshirt on. It's pretty cool. It's like 55, maybe something like that. It's not too bad.
Not too bad. Yeah. Awesome. But yeah, everybody, what I want you to do is we're gonna actually go to and Fake Fever. I was supposed to ask you this before we started. What do you want to go with first? Because we got a lot of stuff. Do you want to go with the Dorian live from the upcoming Slugfest festival, or do you want to go with? You want to just drop it and go with the Dirty Plastic music video premiere? Which one do you want to do first?
Ooh, it's tough. Let's go with let's do the Dorian music or the Dorian live performance. Okay. So that's just like, I don't know, Dirty Plastic, the video, we can talk about it more, but yeah. I'm just like on a nature walk in that video. The Dorian the Dorian live thing is just like kind of what I do, it's like a little snippet of what I do.
Yeah, no, that's another thing too. And when I had you at the block party, I love sets, and there's nothing wrong with people like Desert Sand, for example. It's all clips, and that's totally cool too, but I love
that stuff's super cool.
Yeah. Too. And I love like being one-on-one kind of with an artist, and it brings me back to going to live shows. That's why I think I like it so much, and I miss it. So when I had you for that block party and you submitted that set, I was like, this is what's up. So
I had to do it right, man. Nice little intimate 30 minutes together.
Yep. And this upcoming set for Slugfest, and I love that block party set, but this upcoming set is sick, and you're gonna see in a little bit. We're gonna play that Dorian. We're gonna premiere that Dorian clip from that set. And while we do, chat, if you guys want, get some questions in the chat for Fake Fever. One more time, we are doing the grand opening of Catskill Records. It's the label I've been working on for at least a year now. And it'll be opening April 2nd. So much shit is happening April 2nd, besides Bandcamp Friday. So just go support your friends, artists, labels, everything else. You know the deal. also come out to Catskill Records because we got the first ever vinyl drop, which is going to be Surrogate on vinyl. Runoff is going to be released digitally. We're going to get to that later as well. It is a couple of tracks. It's like almost a mixtape of just so many different styles from Fake Fever, and he's going to tell you that story about how that came to be. And then also, we got the big Catskill Records Slugfest, which the lineup on that is absolutely stacked. You got Fake Fever, Dan Mason, Desert Sand Feels Warm at Night, and Rail, and FM Skyline. So just Friday, April 2nd, put it in the books. It's going to be big. But yeah, let us know your questions for Fake Fever, and I will answer them throughout this stream. But let's get right into the Dorian Live. You guys are getting a first look at the Slugfest here. So you're at the place to be tonight. I'll tell you that much. You're at the place to be. You are rocking with Fake Fever and Pad Chennington. Let's jump right in this.
Yeah.
All right, hold on, everybody. Technical difficulties. For some reason, my OBS is not linking to it. Let me just relink it. Give me 1 second, everybody. Hold on. Dorian Live. There you are. Alrighty, we back. We are back. Hold on, let me get the surrogate going back on in the background. Hold on. We are back, everybody. That was a first look at Dorian live at the Slugfest. It's from Fake Fever's set coming up from the big day on April 2nd. I noticed it might be, I don't know if it was a little choppy on your end, but the stream might have been a little choppy during that. I got so much shit running on my MacBook right now. But just to let you guys know, everything, we're going to re-upload that set on the Catskill Records YouTube channel, which I'll go grab the link for you in a sec if you guys want to sub to that. There'll be a lot of live sets being premiered on there, and just a bunch of other news and updates for the label. So if you want to subscribe to that, you can go check it out.
We made it choppy on purpose so that people had to tune in.
That's
that's
a great idea. I should have thought.
We reduced the quality to like 128 so that, if you want to hear the real shit, you want to hear those real waves.
Yes,
You got to come through Friday.
Yep, you know the deal. April 2nd, baby. Friday, April 2nd. It's going to be a big day. But yeah, that was Dorian live, and like I was saying earlier, I love Fake Fever's live sets. It's a real one-on-one experience with just real awesome visuals in the background. It's just everything we love, I think, about a vaporwave set, just everything in one performance. So it rocks every time. Yeah. So, Fake Fever, let's get back on with the questions here. I'm going to put you under the spotlight.
Do it. Wow. Just grilling me.
What inspirations do you take from regarding your style and production? And furthermore, who are some of your favorite artists, producers, etc.?
Oh, are these this is from the chat?
Oh no, I'm just giving you one from the we came up with some questions before, and then we'll go right into the chat actually. So chat, if you want to just think of some more questions, I will
just bring them all on.
Yep.
I can't see the chat currently, but so like as far as I don't know, producers go, like one of the reason I wanted to start making stuff like this was Flying Lotus for sure. Like an artist I found, I think it was after his first or second full length, whenever Los Angeles came out by Flying Lotus, that's really what kind of like sparked my interest in wanting to create this type of stuff. So it kind of like came full circle. Like when I was a little kid, I remember really like the Prodigy was one of the first CDs I ever had, Fat of the Land. And like enjoying stuff through the years, like Square Pusher and Aphex Twin and Boards of Canada and things like that. But it was just like I couldn't even comprehend how one would make that type of music. So it wasn't until finding Flying Lotus and just kind of really digesting it a lot that I really wanted to try to make something like that. And I did, once I got Ableton a few years later, like I was talking about. So that was definitely like the genesis for me. And then just kind of having a background with listening to like hip hop production tapes, like Dilla and Ninth Wonder, Madlib, things like that.
Oh, yeah.
That was all kind of part of the beginning. And then it was like later on that the, like vaporwave influences and stuff started to kind of take hold.
Mm-hmm. And how did you find the vaporwave scene? How did that all come to be?
Dude, it's funny. So I had I think it was the album's Televised Tragedies by 18 Karat Affair.
Mm-hmm.
I had downloaded that and like one of the old like Haircuts for Men EPs, and I didn't even know that there was an association with vaporwave at all. I just thought it was some cool like retro like chill out music. But then I remember I think it was 2016 or maybe 2017. I randomly was at work just looking for something to put on while I was working, and I came across the first Esprit artsy music stream.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, you know what I'm talking about?
Yep, I know what you're talking about.
And so it's funny, like I remember it like it was yesterday because I was immediately drawn in. George opens that set with the song Summer Night, which is based off of a Lonnie Liston Smith song, which is like a really great jazz keyboard player from the 70s. And I had actually sampled a song for one of the first Fake Fever songs from a song off that same Lonnie Liston Smith album. So I was familiar with it. I was like, oh shit, I like this flip that he's doing right here. And then, just kind of brings in like the visuals and, like there's like a Tupac sample that comes in, just kind of like drew me in really, really intense. And like, it kind of was just like tripping me out and very nostalgic experience. And then the whole set's like really killer. So it was at that point that I started to kind of like dig a little bit deeper. And I remember finding like Mana Pool by Vape Air a little bit after that, and just kind of kept scratching, as far as I could under the surface, and really like I would just listen to like a lot of vaporwave music online, but I didn't even know about like the community or the scene or anything like that until like the Electronicon stuff was popping off. I'm like, oh damn, there's a lot of people like me like listening to this music. I just thought I was like the weirdo in my friend group that like this weird pitch down sample music. But yeah, that was kind of the origin with getting into it. So yeah, it's been a few years running now.
Word. Have you ever had a chance to see George live, or?
No, I haven't. I would love to. I know that he had a tour coming up. I think one of many that got canceled, So I was stoked for maybe the opportunity to see that. And I like the Garden a lot too, that tour was with. But yeah, I'll catch him someday for sure. Yeah. I wanted to go to Electronicon, but I was on tour with one of my bands.
Oh, wow.
When the first one happened, and then the second one was out in LA, like just couldn't make that cross-country trip for that one.
I bring that up because when he does his Esprit performances live, if anyone else has seen him do that in the chat too, what's really cool is he literally replicates what he would do on the live stream. Like, it's that sideways view where he's just sitting in a chair, like hunched over, and he's got his visuals going in the background. And what he does too live, I mean, just the variety and diversity of samples he mixes into his tracks. And that's something I kind of see too with what you were saying, where you even put like a lot of your pop influence in there and some pop work in there. And it's just real cool, And Daydream Deluxe in the chat says, just arrived, what's up? Fake Fever, if you're reading this, you're giving George Clanton a run for his money, is what Daydream
I don't know about any of that. That's wild. No, George is awesome. And yeah, like, I mean, I really did. You can see it, especially in like the live set stuff that I do. Just kind of the era of sampling that he pulls from in those sets, and just kind of the overall like visual flow too, where it had like a really big impact, and it kind of like put me in touch. What I like the most about his music, I mean, not only are the like melodies and the songs really great, obviously, but it kind of like, how all vaporwave kind of has like a nostalgia baked into it. It just kind of comes with the game, but for some reason his approach to it really hits me on like a visceral level. I think maybe it's because we maybe are like around the same age, and like, I think we both grew up in Virginia and all this stuff, and it really was like transportative hearing that stuff and all the samples that he used, like like old Orbital samples or like Return of the Mac and Bone Thugs and stuff like that. All this stuff that I loved when I was a little kid, I had kind of lost touch with over the years, like playing all this heavy stuff and all that. I'll always be thankful for his music kind of putting me back in touch with all this great stuff that I was exposed to as a kid, but had just kind of like forgotten about in a way.
Beautifully said, dude. That's, George's music and just his persona and how he just delivers content to the community, I think is an amazing thing. And so that was definitely well said. I want to get into some of the questions in the chat before we drop the Big Dirty Plastic music video. I'll start straight up with the big man Fiber. It says, serious question, favorite Aphex Twin track?
Oof, I don't know. So whenever there's like a favorite track question, I'm always drawn to like the first one, like the first Love, and so that would be 4 off the Richard D. James album. So I think, I can't think of a better candidate off the top of my head. I love like a lot of the new stuff that he put out in the last like five years or so, but I think I have to stick with 4. I love that song.
Then we got, when is Fake Fever Appreciation Day? I think it's pretty much safe to say it's April 2nd. April 2nd is the
April
the
20th,
official...
whichever you pick out of the two.
One or the other. And then a follow-up question we got, what time is the vinyl dropping? It's going to be at 12 p.m. Eastern time is when we're going to drop it. Friday, April 2nd, 12 p.m. Eastern time. It's going to be a fun day for me because I've never done this before, so we're going to see how it all goes. But that's the plan. 12 o'clock, 12 p.m., April 2nd. It's a Friday. And you can go to the Catskill Records Bandcamp, catskillrecords.bandcamp.com, and you could follow it. It should work. I think it only works if you're on the app, though, right now, because we don't have any releases on there yet. But yeah, that's that. And then there was a bunch of other questions. Let me say. Hold on. So Ronan says, any advice for people who are aspiring to make record labels? I guess just maybe what do you look for as an artist in record labels?
Ooh, that's a really good question these days, especially because I've kind of been through the ringer with like really shitty record label experiences.
This is a test for how I did with Fake Fever, by the way, everybody.
Dude, you did awesome because it's transparency matters the most. Like, just be straight up and be relatable, and just let the artist know what your goals are with it. So yeah, I think transparency is most important to me, and that's one thing I really appreciate about you and working with John at Business Casual. It's like, it's very relaxed, very transparent. Here's what we're trying to do. Here's what I'm thinking for the cut. What the artist gets, what the label gets, what we need to recoup. It's like, it's all stuff that it's really simple, I think, when you break it down. But a lot of labels are either like too scared to have those conversations, or worst case scenario, they have, kind of like shittier motives where they're trying to take advantage of you. And I've had a little bit of that too. Having to get like lawyers involved and all this shit with my old band. But yeah, I think these days just transparency and enthusiasm, that matters the most to me.
Yeah, I agree with you. And I told Fake Fever too, I said the one thing I'm looking out for with anybody, I don't care about numbers, I don't care about anything like that. It literally just comes down to just energy in a person. Like, I just love when artists are just so excited to do something or perform or to put content out there. It's like, when someone has that addiction where they're just constantly putting out content, and they put something out and they're like itching to put out the next thing. And I resonate with a lot of people like that. So Fake Fever got his head in the game. He's ready to go. It was just a perfect, combination. And he could tell you the amount of times I've just been like, dude, straight up, like, this is the first time I'm doing this. You have, any tips for me, any suggestions? It's been a great experience, just doing this, I guess, having you on this for the first release. It's been, it's been good.
I would much prefer that. I would much prefer that over like, I've had to work with some people that have like been in the game forever, and they're just kind of like condescending about it. Like, no, this is how we do things. I'm like, what? No, I have these cool ideas. They're like, nope, shut up. Like, we're going to do it this way, this traditional, bullshit way. And I don't know. It's like sometimes that stuff can work out still if you evolve correctly. But I really just like a collaborative effort where we're like, oh, you know what? That's a good idea. Like, I feel like we have that all the time about stuff that's coming up. It's like, oh, you know what? I didn't think about that. Good idea. And like the artist and the label working together to kind of, build it up to the best it can be.
Yeah. And another thing I tell a lot of the artists that I've reached out to for future releases is just, I don't really care, if people expect you to make a certain sound or you got to fit in this genre or something like that. Like, I want any artist on this label to totally take advantage of the platform and just try something new. Like, I don't care if you make like classic slush wave and you want to make a future funk album. I don't know. Just do whatever you want. And I think in the end, you're just going to get a real natural product that's going to be just a win-win for everybody. It's going to be something new. The artist is going to love it, be passionate about it, and just things flow easier. So, yeah.
Yeah. I'm glad you're that way, because I don't know what the fuck to call what I make. So it works out.
Yeah, and like I said earlier, when you guys hear Runoff, you're going to really, Surrogate has a very distinct universe, I would say, like regarding the sound. You're just every song, it really feels like a story, and it just takes you to different places in a day. That's at least how I feel with it. But Runoff is just, you're just jumping all over the place. So just be on the lookout for that.
It's wacky.
Yeah. And then one last question before we go to the music video. Nick Thomason says, what's better, ketchup or barbecue sauce?
I'm not like crazy about either. I'm not one of these haters that will never touch the shit, but I would probably go barbecue sauce. Yeah.
I agree. I eat everything. I love both of them, but I got to go barbecue sauce.
Yeah, I just put hot sauce on everything. So like any other condiment is inferior compared to hot sauce. Like, I'll throw it on anything.
I got a friend like that. He's like, we used to go out, like, in college, we used to go out, like, get a couple of drinks, come back home, and then, like, I would just be like, all right, let's just fucking order pizza or something, or just, but this dude, he would, like, go in the pantry of our apartment and just get, like, white bread and just douse it with hot sauce, and that would be, like, his favorite thing. Like, he just loved hot. Whenever I hear someone talk about hot,
up like a full countertop of shot glasses full of hot sauce.
Whenever
I come back real quick.
Whenever I hear about hot sauce, I think of this dude every time. But yeah, everyone, thank you for the questions. Keep them coming. But we are gonna jump right into the music videos. So before we do it, real quick, if you just want to give a quick rundown of the music video, how it was made, the people behind it, just totally go for it.
Yeah. So this was literally the last thing I did before lockdown. It was like mid-March, early March, something like that, 2020, and I had recently connected with my buddy Dylan, who does a project called Persona La Ave, which I think a lot of people in the vaporwave community might know about him. He's been doing it since like 2013 or so. Really talented artist and visual artist too, and he does a lot of cool like VHS manipulation stuff and like After Effects and things. Kind of has this nice like retro style, and so I met him actually. Two of our other projects played a show together was like, dude, you did that like Persona F project, like I love that shit. And then I told him, I was making Surrogate and maybe would want to do a music video. And so we just kind of like spitballed a few ideas just at a bar one time. We met up and we just decided like we were just going to go on a nature walk together. And there's this really beautiful, it's like a wildlife preservation area, like 45 minutes south of Charleston, where I used to live up until recently, in Charleston, South Carolina. And so it's called Botany Bay, and it's got this really nice, like, kind of untouched, like, beachfront area. And then there's this really nice, like, dirt kind of path that goes through all of these, like Spanish moss trees and things like that. And so we just really just drove around and walked around for, an entire afternoon and got a bunch of shots. And then we were going to do some like green screen stuff too, but then like COVID got really serious. And so I think he actually moved back home for a little bit too. And so it took like 2 or 3 months to finish it up with the editing. And then at that point, Surrogate had been out for a little while, and it was just kind of like anticlimactic to put it out. So I'm really glad something like this came up where we can show it to people. But yeah, this thing's been done since June 2020.
Yeah, I think when we first started talking about, because when I first went to Fake Fever and told them about the idea I had for the label, where I kind of just want to give an artist a complete platform to just drop everything from live sets to videos to an interview like this to the album and whatnot. I remember one of the first things you were telling me about was like, oh, I got this, I got in the artillery, I got this music video. So it's been on ice for a while. And it's awesome. Yeah. It's awesome. I told him when I first saw it, it reminds me of like when like a wrestler would come out and you'd see their video and the Megatron behind them. This would be your video when you come out.
Like the most not intimidating wrestler ever. Like the fucking music drops and it's just this little hippie man.
Yeah.
Sauntering around looking high as hell.
It's dope. I fucking love it. So let's just get right into it, everybody. Just once again, if you're just getting here for the first time, welcome back to Late Night with Pad. I didn't forget about you all. We're going to bring Late Night with Pad back. We'll play Roller Coaster Tycoon another night for all the OGs in here.
Nice.
We spent like 5 hours playing Roller Coaster Tycoon at like 3 a.m. Good times. But yeah, it's all about Fake Fever tonight. We got the big record dropping. It's the grand opening of Catskill Records on April 2nd. It's a Friday. Put it in the books. If you want, subscribe to the YouTube channel, Catskill Records. You could also follow the Bandcamp. We got a Twitter. We got everything. Instagram just came out like 2 weeks ago, so we're trying to do it big. So just give us some follows. It helps out a lot. And without further ado, let us get right into this big music video for Dirty Plastic. Everybody, enjoy and keep on coming with the questions. I'm going to try and hit up as many as we can. And enjoy the vibes, everybody. Alrighty, everybody, how did you like that? And tell me I was wrong that wouldn't be Fake Fever's intro graphic on the Megatron if he was a WWF wrestler. That would be it.
My record would be 0 wins, 100 losses for sure.
You would be the opposite of Goldberg. I think Goldberg went like 270.
I'd be more like Gold Dust.
Yeah. Yeah, everybody, welcome back. We just watched the Dirty Plastic music video, which in 15 minutes will be going live on the Catskill Records YouTube channel. And before I keep talking about that, because I keep bringing it up and I keep saying I'm going to drop the link in the chat, let me just do it now and get it over with. Hold on. So I'm going to put that in the chat in a little bit. But yeah, that was the music video for that. And he, like we were saying before, he's had that on ice for a while, and he told me, he was like, I'm a little iffy about this. I don't know if it's good. It's like so focused on me, and I was like, dude, fucking show me. And I thought it was killer. So, like, what you guys think about it in the chat? Let us know, and we'll just keep rolling on with the questions. So Surrogate, okay, so you dropped that on Business Casual. How was it working with John? I love John. I've actually got the chance to meet him a couple times. I did a big interview with him in Asbury Park in New Jersey, if anyone knows where that is.
Nice, I do. I played there a couple times.
Oh,
the Saint. You ever been to the Saint?
Yes, yep. That's
I played there a
awesome.
few times back in the day.
Wow. Yes,
Bruce
Asbury's
Springsteen
the best.
land.
That's exactly. You could go. The awesome thing about Asbury, and he still does this, is he'll just randomly show up at bars. Like, I don't know if anyone's been in Asbury. There's like the Wonder Bar, and he'll just randomly at times show up and just do an acoustic set. And I've had friends who've been there, and he just walks in and does it, and just...
That's amazing.
Yeah, and like the word will spread to like everyone who's in Asbury at the time. There's so many bars in Asbury, and everyone just starts flocking over. It's such a cool thing.
That's awesome. That's what Bill Murray used to do that in Charleston. He was like our kind of local celebrity. Him and Danny McBride lived down there.
Oh, wow.
And he he was kind of a dick though, to be honest. Like,
oh, really?
I don't know. I mean, I guess if you get bombarded by randos like for the majority of your adult life, you'd probably be a dick too.
Yeah.
But yeah, he would just like play pranks on people and stuff. But Danny McBride was super cool. I ran into him a few times.
That guy seems
now that
like
we're
a
name
G.
dropping celebs. Danny McBride was rad.
That guy seems like a gangster. He seems like a cool guy.
He is, for sure.
But yeah, Asbury's real cool, and something I want to do in the future. I don't think no one knows this. I don't think I've ever said this on stream. But originally, I wanted to do the block party in real life in Asbury was the plan. I wanted to do a whole day, because I have a couple people that I know who know people who just run the venues there. And I grew up like Brooklyn and New Jersey block parties. Like people would just shut down an entire block, and like people would bring out barbecue, music, and chairs and tables. And it's just one of the most fun memories I have growing up. And I don't know why. I mean, obviously we're in COVID now, but even before that, like, I just don't know why people didn't do that anymore. I just thought it was such a fun thing to do. And I wanted to do that in Asbury and kind of just take a whole block out. We'll set up like 3 stages. I'll man the barbecue or something. Like, it would just be a lot of fun. So one day we'll get that going. We'll get Fake Fever there too.
Definitely. But yeah, who are we talking about? John?
Yeah. Yep.
We're talking about John Zabelli. No, that guy's he's amazing. Just like really, really just, like we're talking about, like just super transparent and very like simple process as far as the whole release went. I filled out the form on their site just like anyone does, I guess, that's new and wants to put out an album with them. And he was just like, yeah, I'm digging this. Here's kind of my availability. Does this work with your schedule? And it ended up, I was kind of looking for like a spring 2020 release, and that worked out with his schedule. And then, I think the best part is that it just kind of has like a built-in following. So I knew that just, the fact that it got picked up by Business Casual meant that this entire subscriber list was at least going to be exposed to the album. Didn't know if they would like it or not, but I would hit way more ears doing it that way than like self-releasing or something like that. So it was a huge help, and it's like an honor really to do it through them, because that's a hub of music that I've had, for a few years now, just finding new things. Like that's how I found stuff like FM Skyline originally, and Windows 96, and I think Dan Mason too. I found, just through their Bandcamp page. So to be alongside all of that and all the incredible artists that they continue to put out was super cool, and John was awesome about it the whole time.
Hell yeah, yeah. John's a great guy. For those who don't know, just in case, John is also Christ.
And, the Christ Man, yeah.
Christ Man, owner of Business Casual. And yeah, big shout out to him too. He'll stop by these streams every once in a while. I hope he's in here. Maybe not, but
also another one of his talents.
Mhm.
Not only is a great label head and musician and artist, but he's got these funny ass streams now going on.
Yeah, yep.
What can't he do?
He is a legend. I really do love that guy, and I was about to say I reached out to him so much, and so many people. There's a whole list of people. It would take me like a half an hour just to throw out thank yous to everyone who's given me advice and just tips on how to start a label. But he's been one of the big ones. I go to him all the time for questions, and he's just an awesome guy. So yeah, big shout out to Zabelli. And then real quick, also, I just want to say thank you to the Rocket King for the $5 donation. I appreciate it a lot. It says, Pad, thank you for introducing Renja and Sangam's and their album Sacrifice to me. It's sublime, and yes, I want more Vapor Tycoon. Yeah, that's a great album. The release on New Motion is fucking awesome. I love the record they put out for that. And we will definitely get back to more Vaporwave Roller Coaster Tycoon.
How's our contract work out? I get $4 of that. You get one, right?
Yeah.
All right, cool.
Fake Fever's making the big bucks. He's making the big bucks here.
I really kind of did you dirty with that contract. That doesn't exist.
And here's something funny too. So I don't know if anyone, I throw myself under the bus with everything. Like there's so many things that I just could totally never talk about again, but I just bring up because I'm an idiot. But a long time ago, when I first announced the label, I did no research on anything, and I went right into the stream when I announced it, and I was like, my goal is to do 100% of the revenue go to the artist. I was like, I'm gonna make a label where everything goes to the artist profit wise. And as I started developing the label, I'm like looking at all the stuff, and you gotta buy, like, that's one thing with the records I'm learning. Like, you gotta buy the records to get pressed. You gotta buy the boxes. You gotta buy the tape. You gotta buy the tape gun. You gotta buy labels, a label printer. You gotta buy inserts for the boxes to secure. It was just crazy.
It's so much.
It was crazy. So, and going right back to John, like, just all this help from everyone, just kind of setting me up and putting me in the right direction was great. So he is definitely a G. And you can check out Surrogate, the original release. It is still on there. It's going to be there. And you were talking about kind of getting on that email list too with like John. And I think what made Surrogate pop really well was that album cover is so damn beautiful. And I think so many vapor heads like just would be attracted to something like that. So it was just a perfect combination, dude. Perfect combination.
This guy Switzen, who lives in LA, I just randomly found his art on, I think it was like on the Instagram, was it like Discover page or whatever? Mm-hmm. Just his style immediately like popped out to me, and I was just kind of going through some of his more recent stuff, and that was actually like he does these like one a day, just kind of like quick works, throws them up online, and that was one of them, or the general idea was, and I was like, hey, can I use this? And, we worked out a deal and everything. Obviously wanted to compensate him for the awesome work, and he did the Runoff cover too, and just kind of like tie it all together, keep it in that same universe. So yeah, his name's Switzen Wigfall. Super talented artist, does a lot of visual stuff too, or like video stuff too, based out in LA.
Awesome. Yeah, it is a beautiful cover. It is perfect to work with. And that was another thing too, grabbing you for the first release. I knew like we can make something look so pretty with this on vinyl with the
dude, it was meant to be. You know what's hilarious is I like a couple of weeks after I put out the album, I was just messing around with like a vinyl mock-up, and I'd like posted something. I was just like putting it out into the universe, like just half-ass, like joking around, like, I don't know, this would look pretty cool. And people were like, yeah, totally, you should do that. But I didn't think it would actually happen anytime soon, and here we are.
Also, shout out to Lunitas, who predicted the vinyl the day before it came out.
Oh, remember wow, that? Yeah, that was a serious premonition. That was crazy.
Yeah, that was on Twitter. Someone literally said if this ever comes out on vinyl, they're worried they're gonna miss it, and it was like hours.
No, he had a dream. He was like, I had a dream. Like he can see the future. Like, do not fuck with Lunitas. Like, Luis will speak to the spirits. Yeah. But yeah, he was like, I had a dream that Surrogate was coming out on vinyl, and I missed the drop, and I was pissed. And then literally like 10 hours later, we announced it.
And that dude's got some awesome artwork too. If you've all probably seen it before. Lunis has done artwork for Cat System Corp for a ton of like show promotion and just awesome artist.
A genius, yeah. He's Luis is making music too. I think that might that might drop sometime
Yeah,
soon.
yeah.
So
I saw some
be on the lookout
pictures.
for that.
Yep, of some synths and just getting in the studio. So it was kind of
For sure.
And then one more question for you, Fake Fear, before we get into we'll go right into the next video.
Sure.
And then maybe we'll actually do two more questions. But we got a question from Strip Silence. What's up, Strip Silence? Awesome contributor over at Club Chennington as well, and an awesome musician who was just on the Club Chennington Selects Volume 2 compilation, which is on YouTube if y'all want to check that out too. Says, Fake Fever, what are some rituals you have to get into a creative state?
I don't know. I try not to. I'm not a very superstitious person. I try not to get into like stuck in any kind of routine. When I was making Surrogate, I would literally like, just kind of sit down and listen to music for a bit, and kind of I do this throughout the day. When if I plan on making something that night, I feel like my ears are perked up, extra sensitive, so that I'm really like picking up and being a sponge with music I'm listening to. And so I'll do that a little bit sometimes, and like maybe hit the pen a little bit or whatever, get some incense going, like nothing too crazy. And then, just go to town. And a lot of times it's like super frustrating and nothing like cool happens whatsoever. But I always like feel that kind of like spark when something good's coming together. So I don't know. I don't really have anything too set. So I do have a cool projector in my little like studio room now though. So sometimes I'll just like project, those like video game playthroughs and stuff like that. Or like sometimes just like sports or whatever's on TV, or, like old movies and TV shows and stuff like that. So I don't know, nothing more than that really.
Word. No, I mean, everybody's got their own way. Me, I just literally I get really lazy until just it's like 2 days before I got to drop a video, and I'm like, shit, I got to fucking do something here. So that's my process right there. But that's awesome. And to add on to that, another question, kind of from the questions we were thinking of earlier in the day. Tell us about your process of creating an online set. As I said it before, I love how you do those sets, and what kind of goes into making it, because a lot of people don't know this. When you do these online sets, you gotta like, I don't know about you, but when I know I have to do a set, I have to like dedicate an entire almost day to it, because I gotta take the time to know if I'm gonna fuck up the set halfway through, if the battery's gonna die, if something messes up. So I guess just take us through your creation of an online set.
I mean, it is like 100% a pain in the ass. Like
that's what honestly it is.
You said 1 day, like that's so quick compared to how I do it. So like my process is, it's not that different than like an in-person show or whatever, where I'll just like sit down with kind of my little like library of songs that I could pick from, and I'll kind of just pick songs based off of like kind of the vibe of like the event and just a good track flow, and like obviously time restrictions and things like that. And so then once I have that set in stone, then I'll kind of think of interesting ways to like tie the songs together with transitions and like new samples and things like that are different than how they are in the album, because I don't want to just like play it note for note how they go on the recording. Like you can just listen to the album with that. So like for instance, on that Block Party set, I had like that Winter Quilt remix that I did, and then I had that back to back with my song Neon Spree, and I was like, there's something I can do here to like tie these songs together. And that's when I was just like digging through my little like sample bank and all these like things that I have on a hard drive that I hadn't used before, and I just like came across that Backstreet Boys sample. I was like, that's it. That's the fucking link right there to tie these songs together. And so I'll just really like brainstorm stuff like that. And then once I have that down, I just practice for like a good while until it becomes second nature. Like obviously the pre-recorded set thing, the beauty of it is you can go back and like redo or like start over again if you mess up or whatever. But I don't want to spend like a whole day getting frustrated and having to do that. So I just practice like till it becomes pretty second nature, and then I'll kind of set a day to record it. And the past two that I did like with you, I've had my friends with like nice camera gear come and help me out, like literally just put their nice.
It looks crisp.
Well, it sucks because the first one I did, was just kind of on a whim. My buddy Taylor offered to help me out, and it looked so good that I couldn't like go back now and just like film with my phone or a webcam or whatever. So now that I live in Richmond, Virginia, I have another buddy here who does a lot of cool film stuff. Hit him up. Luckily these people like are down to help me out. And so we'll kind of record, obviously the film it and capture the audio at the same time and get it in a couple takes usually, or hopefully. And then I'll do a little bit of mixing. Like I record the vocals and the guitar and the stuff I layer over top, just dry when I do it, so that I can kind of manipulate it however afterwards, and kind of run the vocals through the same like wet effects that I have on the album, so that it sounds similar, and like pick out little digital amp like guitar tones or whatever for different songs. And then once I have it all mixed and like polished a little bit, that's when I start working on the green screen stuff. Mm-hmm. I know a lot of people work with visual artists, and I might need to do that in the future because it takes forever, but honestly, doing the green screen stuff now doesn't take too long, because I just have this massive like Google Drive folder of all these cool visuals and stuff that I've clipped over the years for like promo videos or whatever, and I kind of know at this point what clips work well with which songs and stuff. And if I don't, then I just go like visual digging, just like you mm-hmm. would for samples or whatever. It's like I want a vibe kind of like this, and then manipulate it with these little like apps that I have on my phone. And then I line it up sort of rhythmically. Like it doesn't have to be perfect, but like when the clips transition behind me, when the song transitions and stuff like that. So all in all, that shit takes like, I don't know, 3 weeks or so to really get it right. So it's a labor of love for sure.
Yeah, dude, that is straight up, just bless you for that, because for me, it's like, I get frustrated after like, if I'm working on it for more than 4 hours, I'm like, all right, that's enough. And then I go into Premiere Pro, I click just the simple, cheap green screen effect, and like, right. It's so cruddy looking, but I'm like, I don't even give a shit after.
Yeah, I mean, there's definitely like, something to that like lo-fi quality, and that's I honestly never stress that much. Like, if something looks a little wacky or whatever, glitches out, like it kind of comes with the territory, with like, especially what we do in this genre, like glitch is cool, whatever, let it fuck up. But I really I don't know, like I enjoy the process most of the time, even though I was talking shit earlier. It just takes a while, and like I don't do 4-hour blocks like what you're talking about. Like I just do a little bit at a time before I get too sick of it, hit it the next day. But I know something's going to come up in the future where I'm going to have to probably do it all in like 3 days, and it's going to be awful.
Oh my God. I mean, I'm sure you could say this too. Like once you get to the day of that online festival and your set goes on, it really does make it feel like it's all worth it though. Like it's super rewarding, when you get it up there. For sure. Like doing that first one, I think helped, like, that like the block party set, and the I did the Vapor Memory like 5-year anniversary set, and just doing that alone in a pandemic like helped expose my music to so many more people that didn't know about it previously. So like obviously like big time worth it. Yeah, no, these live sets they're always really fun, and they could just get to so many people. So yeah, another thing, everybody, you could catch the entire Fake Fever block party set on the Catskill Records YouTube channel. It's one of the first videos we uploaded there. It's an amazing set, and once again, you're going to be able to catch his brand new performance at the Catskill Records Slugfest. It's on April 2nd. It's going to be the same day we drop the vinyl.
I can't wait.
It's going to be a sick day. That festival starts at 8 o'clock p.m. Eastern time. We're going to start. Stacked lineup. We got In Rail, Desert Sand Feels Warm at Night, FM Skyline, Dan Mason, and Fake Fever. It's just, it's going to be a whole party. But talking about April 2nd and what's coming out that day, we got Runoff coming out. So I'm going to totally just let you take this over. Share your story about Runoff, what it is, what people should expect. And after that, we're actually going to go into some footage, some never-before-seen footage of some music off of Runoff. And it's that whole thing's a trip. And like we keep saying, it is super different than, the consistency off of Surrogate. It's just this whole blend of everything. So, yeah, just tell us about Runoff or the Surrogate B-sides.
For sure. That was a very smooth transition, by the way. You did a great job. So, yeah, like I'm really excited for this stuff to come out next week. It's crazy. Like I've been kind of sitting on it for a little while. But, yeah, like when I was talking about making Surrogate for all of 2019, and I was just like making stuff nonstop, there was like bound to be leftover things that I liked, but just didn't fit with the flow. Like, the Surrogate kind of has this like, pop, like kind of hazy synth vibe that's sort of continuous throughout. And I really love that style of music and like that kind of like chill wave or like poppy vaporwave stuff. But I also love like tons of other different kinds of music that I wanted to try out, especially in 2019 when I didn't really have like a goal other than just to make as much stuff as I could. And so there's a lot of other inspirations and influences like footwork and like trap music and drum and bass and big beat and things like that. And so that was kind of my chance to like display some of that in kind of a low pressure situation. Like I didn't worry too much about tying it together like it was this storybook album flow or track flow. It just kind of is what it is, and turned out like a mixtape sort of, but it still has enough like familiar sounds that it kind of still feels like it's in that surrogate universe, from the same time I was making that, but it just kind of has space to go down whatever little weirdo path it wants to go down. But the cool thing was, like, rather than just put out the raw ideas like just straight up off my hard drive, I actually put in time last year in 2020. I think it was like August and September, maybe a little bit of July. I just sat down with everything, was digging through it, and used the B-sides as a way to just learn more on the production side of things, just getting better with EQing and getting better with how to use compression and trying out new plugins and stuff like that, new drum packs, things like that. And so I think some of the songs turned out like sonically sound better than the surrogate songs. And then obviously my buddy Peyton, who does the Eventual Infinity project, he mastered these songs and like really took them to the next level. And it's such an impressive job because, like we're saying, all these songs are kind of in a different style and go all over the place, and he was able to tie it together with kind of a consistent, like, level everything out, and it flows nicely and that isn't like too much of a shock from song to song. So he really like brought it to the next level. So I'm really excited to finally share it next week.
Yeah, it sounds great. I've had the chance to listen to it. It's dope. It's definitely dope. You get so many different styles on there, and it's like you're ordering a sampler from you're going to Applebee's, you're getting a sampler. You got everything on there.
Exactly.
It's a lot of fun. So
I think that the songs we're about to play do a good job of kind of like showing the dichotomy of it all.
Definitely the contrast of it all and everything. So we'll get right into that. And before we do, just a quick shout out, Travis. Thank you for the $5 donation, dude. I know you've donated before during the live streams. Thank you for the support. I really appreciate it. Also, I like that. I don't even know what that is. I think they're two lemons playing a trumpet. I know, Fake Fever, you can't see the chat right now, but it probably sounds so weird to you. But yeah, thank you for the donation, dude.
Two lemons playing a trumpet, like that's a vibe. I'm into
They're
it.
definitely vibing out. If I wish you could see it.
A lemon party.
But yeah, let's get right into these tracks off of Runoff. These are some awesome visuals to go with it too. And I'm really excited to just hear everybody's feedback on it when it drops, and it's just that whole day is gonna be a lot of fun. So I'm gonna shut up. Let's just get right into this. Everybody, thank you for coming out again. You're chilling with me and Fake Fever. This is Late Night with Pad. It's back. We're gonna do more of these. Don't worry, they're coming. And let's get right into the music.
Your wish is to have a barbecue with all your friends. Your wish is granted.
Alrighty, we back. What do we think, everybody? What do we think? I was watching those visuals again, like the second time around, and I'm just like, some trippy, awesome, high quality shit right there. But yeah, that's the first look. That's your first look at Runoff. You're gonna be able to catch that on Catskill Records. It's also gonna be available digitally everywhere. April 2nd. It's gonna be the same day we're dropping the Surrogate vinyl release, as well as the big Catskill Records Slugfest, and we have some limited edition cassettes for Runoff coming out at a later date. And Fake Fever can tell you, we've put a whole bunch of stuff into this cassette. We really souped them up. Oh, yeah. So it's gonna be pretty sweet. But I want to jump right back into the questions, because that outro, we had that little video game outro over there. So I always love talking about like how video games or movies inspire an artist's work. So yeah, what other forms of media, from video games to movies, inspire your work, if any?
Yeah, I mean, video games for sure. Like, I've always been kind of obsessed with like sound design in video games, dating back to like really old shit up to like the crazy sound design stuff they can do now. So I'll like throw in little like, you know how you can find like FX boards from like old video games on YouTube or whatever. I'll throw stuff like that in a lot. But as far as like, sometimes it's more than that. Like the song Terrace on Surrogate, that came like that wasn't an idea or a rough idea or anything like that until I played the game Abzu, which is, I don't know if you've heard of that. It's like this basically like underwater exploration, like
you're like a scuba diver or something, right?
Yeah, and I use it in the visuals sometimes actually too. So it was this very like therapeutic meditative experience playing that. It's made by the people that made Journey, which I know is kind of like their most popular game. But anyway, I played that and it had like a really profound effect on me, and I just wanted to create something that felt like how I felt when I was playing that game. And so I created these sounds that kind of reminded me of like, like a underwater like grotto area or something like that. And so that song wouldn't have existed if I hadn't played that game. So sometimes it's like, a top tier influence, but sometimes it's like, it's subtle. I remember when I was making the song Reverie on Surrogate, I was just like working on that. And at the same time, I was replaying Final Fantasy VIII, which I hadn't done in a long time. And there's like the song in that game. I think it's like the overworld theme or whatever it's called, Blue Fields. And I just, I had heard that so many times during that month I was making that song that the additional layers I was kind of throwing on top of the main loops in that song were very reminiscent of these like plucky bells and strings and stuff that you can hear in that song. And I didn't even realize it until like 2 weeks later. I went back and like reviewed it. I was like, oh shit, I just was ripping off like Final Fantasy for that song. So sometimes it's subtle like that, but yeah, shout out gamers.
Hell yeah. We were talking about video games the other night. You're playing what are you playing on the Switch right now?
So it's the old like Wii U Mario World, which you can get on Switch now, which I had never played, and it's like beautiful. I feel like it's underrated. I had never like really heard too much about it. Like people always talk about Galaxy or Odyssey, but this one is so much fun. So I'm probably like 75% of the way through. Nice. That's how I like wind down at night. It's been sweet.
Word. I'm gonna need something soon. Me and my girlfriend have just been rocking Pikmin. We've been playing Pikmin 3 on the Switch, and it's so addicting. I gotta like step away from it because I have so much shit to do. But yeah, and then I mean, it doesn't have to be inspired by movies. But what are some of your favorite movies too? I always love talking about movies.
Dude, I'm gonna be honest. I have like the worst ADD when it comes to movies. Like I've seen plenty of them, but I am just not like a movie dude. I mean, like I really do love like all the David Lynch that I've seen and things like that, or even older movies like 8.5 or like in the visual mix actually for Runoff, I use a clip from Wild Strawberries, and so there's a lot of things when I can actually sit down and focus that really affect me on like a real level that does influence kind of how I think and approach music. But for the most part, like I just can't focus with movies, and so they don't influence things as much as say like music or video games do.
Word, no, that's totally cool. I have a friend actually that just like literally just does not watch movies. She's like, just it's one of those people that they don't listen to music at all. I don't know if you know anyone who's like that, and it's just so it's like how.
Oh my god, I used to have a boss that was like that. Check this out. My boss. I was actually at the job that I was working when I came up with the name Fake Fever. When I told that story earlier, my boss there said she didn't like music, didn't like pizza, didn't like Mexican food, just across the board didn't like Mexican food, and didn't like, or she didn't give her children compliments, was something she told me one time. Like that's not how she raised her kids.
That is like
super, like the worst person ever, right?
That's like the infinity gems of just bad takes, right there.
I know, it blew my mind. I was almost like impressed at how hateful like someone could be just casually like that. But yeah, no, dude, honestly, with movies, like when I am able to sit down and focus, I do enjoy them more than not. But it's like something that I do so infrequently these days, especially like my friends used to give me so much shit because I hadn't seen an Indiana Jones movie until like embarrassingly
I've never seen an Indiana Jones movie. So.
Oh shit, you just put yourself on.
I know, I'm really weird with movies. Like I've seen like a good chunk, and it's the same thing with me in music. Like I've seen a good chunk, but then there are just these like obvious movies that I've never seen, and people are like mind blown
Oh
by
yeah,
it, so
and I
don't
know
even
I'm such
worry.
a novice too. I don't even try to get into movie conversations with people. I'm very upfront, like, yeah, I'm not the guy to talk to about this. So that's what I'm telling you now.
Yeah. Hold on. I think my mic. No, I'm good. I thought my mic fell out for a second. Real quick, what I want to do also is go back to the chat. I know we had some questions in the chat, and before we do that, just one more quick shout out to Travis. Thanks again, dude, for the $5 donation. This time we got a person laughing with some awesome hair, and Fake Fever can't see it, unfortunately. But...
Oh, cool. I'm picturing it though.
Shout
What color's
out.
the hair?
Blonde. We got, looks like Hulk Hogan vibes right over here.
Oh, sweet.
Let me go to the questions. Let's see. I saw going before. Here we go. So we got a question from Digi. Says, Fake Fever, how would you describe your music with just one word?
Underwater.
That is a great answer.
That's what I go with.
That is a great answer. And then we got a question from, I just had it, from Be Careful, which we're going to pretty much go into this question after.
Shout out Be Careful. I checked out their music not too long ago. Really good.
Word?
Really good
there
stuff.
There you go. Shout out Be Careful. So Be Careful says, yo, what artists would you like to work with in the future? And I'm not going to give you their second part of the question because it's pretty much the final question of the stream. So what artists would you like to work with in the future? And you could totally say nobody. I've talked to people who are like, I just don't like to.
I don't
fuck
like
with
anyone.
Yeah.
No, I'm just kidding. That's tough. I would probably go with, because he does so many collaborations. My favorite bands. I don't have a favorite artist, but my favorite band is probably the band Pinback, and the main singer of that band, his name's Rob Crow.
Mm-hmm.
And if you were to listen to them, if you haven't before, you can hear the vocal influence on what I do. So a duet with Rob Crow would just I could just die happy after that. So I'll go with him.
Hell yeah. All right, we got to make that happen.
We gotta see.
Maybe Rob is in the chat. Who knows?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, so let's, before we get to the final question, which we're going to talk about what's next for Fake Fever, any possible exciting news, you could share besides, April 2nd. What we're going to do is we're going to play one more final clip for you all. Fake Fever, if you want to just tell them about that one, what's coming up next.
Oh yeah. So it's the closing track on the B-side collections, and it's actually a flip of my song Dirty Plastic that we did the video for, obviously. And so I flirt with a lot of vaporwave production styles on songs, but I'd never commit fully. I'll do some of the down sampling of my own material and kind of chop it up, but with the plastic dirt is what I'm calling it. It's really built up from the layers of that song, and then I just threw a little guitar hook over top of it, and it turned into this kind of shoegazy anthem of a song that has a pretty different vibe than the original. And some people might have heard it on the that Vapor Memory 5th anniversary stream that I did, but I've since polished it up a bunch, and obviously Eventual Infinity mastered it. It really sounds like how I heard it in my head finally. And so this is a visual mix, and all of these visuals that I did for the B-sides came from a stream that I did back in November. There's a really great crew that puts these on called Rosewood, that they do some really awesome fundraising, and so this was part of that. It was just this kind of one-off sneak peek, and Dan Mason, Sierra Mist, and Rail, and a bunch of other acts played, and it was super fun. But I made this visual for that stream, and this is kind of it in its final form.
Beautiful. Let's jump into it, everybody. Once again, you're rocking with me and Fake Fever. It's Late Night with Pad. We're hyping up, getting pumped for that big release on April 2nd. If you don't know, Surrogate, his debut album as Fake Fever, is coming live on vinyl at Catskill Records. You can go to catskillrecords.bandcamp.com, bookmark it, follow it, whatever you got to do, and also check out the Twitter, the Instagram, and the YouTube channel. So let's get right into our next and final clip from Fake Fever tonight. We hope you're having a good time. Thanks for coming out, everybody. And we're still going to chill for a little after this, so don't go anywhere. And let's get into the music. right, everybody, we are back. Thank you once again for chilling with us. We hope you've been digging the clips and chilling with us this beautiful Wednesday night. At least by you. By me, it is pouring out. It might have stopped now, but it's been gross. It's been gross.
That was yesterday here.
Yeah, we probably caught everything you had.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I told everybody in the chat, just throw your questions. We're going to answer a handful of them. And I'm going to do it kind of sort of quick because my laptop is dying. Because if I plug my laptop in while I stream, I get this really weird feedback in my headphones. And it just doesn't work. So we're kind of at a race for time. But we do have some good questions. I saw some questions regarding the vinyl pricing. It's not 100% set in stone yet. I'm still kind of figuring out the numbers between how much I put in to get everything made, all the shipping supplies, all that stuff. But I mean, you could expect it to be a traditional, Bandcamp kind of release for vinyl in this scene, So I guess like low 20s is pretty much what it would be. But don't quote me on it. I don't know exactly how much it's going to be yet. But it's going to be no like $37 plus 10 shipping or some crazy stuff. Don't worry about that. But yeah, so vinyl's coming out April 2nd. Just again, remind everybody, catskillrecords.bandcamp.com. It's going to be real sweet. And question-wise, we got a question from Spooky. Says, Fake Fever, how do you come up with song titles?
Oh my god, I have no clue. Like, it's just usually something that like pops into my head. I don't usually, like, if a song has lyrics written to it, it makes it a little bit easier. I'll usually try to pick either like kind of like subtle part from the lyrics or just something based off the lyrics. But for other things, like I got this song called Snowfields, and it just sounded like, gazing over like a blizzard, in a field, just kind of like compiling on the ground. And I was like, all right, that's easy. That one's called Snowfields. That's the first thing I saw in my head when I was making this. So it's usually related somehow. Sometimes I'll like do a little like inside joke or something based off of like a sample that I use. So I don't know. I probably should give it more thought, to be honest.
No, I love your track title name, especially for Runoff. Some of them are real sweet, so they're definitely pretty cool.
There's some fun ones. Colossal Clutch, that one we did earlier.
That
was the Big Show, the wrestler. That was his like finishing move. And someone said, I played that song one time and they said it sounded like a final boss battle. So that was like I was feeling empowered.
Word. Hell yeah, Big Show's a big ass dude. That
is a large man.
Powerful. And to get back to Be Careful's second part of the question, and this is what we'll kind of wrap everything up with. So they said, what are some of your goals with your music for the next couple of years? And to kind of go off of the questions I had for you, where do you want to take Fake Fever next? And do you have any plans or exciting news you can share besides what's coming out on April 2nd? And if you want to keep things secret, if you got anything in the works, you want it to be a surprise, totally cool. But yeah, where do you see this project going? What do you want to do with it? And just what can we expect from you?
Well, it takes me about 10 years to make an album, so be on the lookout for that 2030 drop for that new Fake Fever. I do have some stuff coming up in the more immediate future, like some really cool collabs that I probably can't be the one to spill the details on yet, but it'll be pretty consistent throughout the next few months, I think, through the summer. And then I actually put one out recently with Eventual Infinity, and I did a song, like a 2-song set that we put out like probably a month ago at this point. We had worked on a song together last year, and then just continued to do so. And so we put out 2 of the things we've been working on, which everyone should check out. One's called Unbottle, one's called Fangs. Mm-hmm. So those are out everywhere now, and then we'll probably keep kind of putting stuff together and maybe do like I don't know, we'll see, like maybe a long EP, maybe a short LP, not sure yet, but just kind of keep working together throughout the year. And then I got a song, another one I can't really give too many details about, but it's a cover song on a compilation coming out. Should be by the end of the spring. It's associated with one of my favorite things ever, and that's really all I can say. And it's hard as shit because I had to sing really high, but I think it's turning out pretty cool. Dope.
Hell yeah. Awesome. I'm really excited. Even, like, I know a lot of stuff you got working on, but I'm always excited to see if you got anything else cooking and what's coming around the corner. So I'll definitely be on the lookout for that compilation. That sounds awesome.
Yeah, it should be sweet.
And then we got a question from Guitar Jams. We've pretty much talked about this throughout the whole stream. I guess if you just want to sum it up. They said, Fake Fever, where does all your energy come from during your songwriting process? Is it spontaneous and you sound and build from that, or do you plan it mentally first?
It's both, honestly. Like, and just like songwriting in general. Like, I have a lot of different projects that I play in. Not as many these days as I used to, but you know, sometimes I kind of get in the mode to just like let out some energy and write like riffy guitar music. And I still have some projects where I do that type of stuff. And then if I want to work on something more that feels more kind of like a contemplative, like meditative type experience, that's usually when I'll do this Fake Fever stuff. So it usually comes from a pretty like calm place. I don't really like pull up Ableton if I'm in like a shitty mood. So my stuff sounds kind of like pleasant, I guess, because of that. But yeah, I don't know. Energy's weird. Sometimes like I'll sit down and just be like so lethargic and just like clicking through the different synth presets, and then like the slightest little thing, like, ooh, like what was that, like triplet delay, like that will spark like the entirety of Dirty Plastic. Like that's basically how that song worked out. It's like, oh shit, this is the hook. Okay, cool. And then all these things just start flooding in. So I don't really plan it out too much. But I do, you know, when I listen to music, sometimes I'll write down in my notes app, like, oh, like that's a nice groove, or like that's a nice synth sound. And I'll try to reference those things and put my own spin on it, obviously. So yeah, kind of goes a few ways.
Hell yeah. Awesome. Dude, I mean, listening to you talk is inspiring too. Like I definitely, I do want to make some more music and learn a bunch of new things going into 2022. So
you should, man.
Yeah, I need to. I definitely need. I want to have some good bangers when we get back to the live scene. We'll do that. But dude, once again, everybody give it up for Fake Fever in the chat. Throw the ones up. It is an honor, dude, to work with you. It's just this whole process has been so much fun. It's been such a huge learning process for me. And as we're rounding, you know, that corner and like looking at those mock-ups on the screen, and it's really, you know, it's starting to come full circle, and I'm so pumped. And I guess if you have anything, you know, you want to say to everyone, just, you know, one more time, take the floor on this one.
Yeah, I mean, likewise with you, man. I really appreciate just kind of this whole process and you just having faith in this album. I think like any artist or you know, just music fan in general, like hearing this knows how short an album cycle can be these days. So the fact that, you know, you believed in this and want to put it back out and kind of give it a second life almost, and, you know, expose a lot of people that didn't catch it the first time to this, like, really means a lot. So thank you for everything that you're doing for this album. And then thanks to everyone in the chat, everyone that's listened to Surrogate or anything I've done. Like, I really do appreciate it. And hit me up anytime, you know. Hell
yeah. Everybody, one more time, give it up for Fake Fever. Thank you for the kind words, dude. And tonight was a lot of fun. We're going to be, just to give you guys a little heads up on where you can find more material, that Catskill Records YouTube channel, I'm really going to use that thing as a platform for everything regarding any artist on the label, whether that's these live streams, sets, visuals, performances, just anything, really. So check that out. Check the Catskill Records YouTube channel out if you get a chance. I put the link here a couple times, and it should be in the description of this. I hope I put it there. So you can catch this entire stream again. You were also going to be uploading the Dirty Plastic music video. It should be out now, actually. And a bunch of the other things you've seen in this stream will be there as well. So just be on the lookout. And also, one more time, just to recap everything, put it in the books, Friday, April 2nd. We're less than 2 weeks away. It's the grand opening of Catskill Records, where we will be dropping the Surrogate vinyl. It is the first time it's ever been on vinyl. Debut album from Fake Fever. Limited edition run. You got the Whirlpool Rush edition. It's coming out at $150, and the Sunbeam Crush edition at another $150. So you're going to want to be there for that. catskillrecords.bandcamp.com. You should be able to follow it at this point. The button should be there. And that'll be at 12. And then at 8 o'clock that day, we also have the Catskill Records Slugfest, which is an online festival we're going to throw. Fake Fever will be there. Dan Mason and Rail. Desert Sand Feels Warm at Night, and FM Skyline. That's going to be a whole night.
It's going to be nuts.
Yeah, it's going to be a party. So we're going to
I'll actually be in the chat for that one, too, so I better see everyone there.
Hell yeah.
I'll better be checking the list.
You better be there. And then just one more thing. We also have Runoff, which is dropping also on April 2nd, alongside the album. So Runoff, we showed it before. It's a whole bunch of tracks, the surrogate B-sides, we like to call it, from the creative process of making Surrogate, all these extra tracks. It's all in this one little mixtape, and it is absolutely awesome. So you'll be able to hear that in its entirety on April 2nd, as well as on streaming sites pretty much everywhere. So, yeah, we're going to leave you with that, everybody. Once again, thank you so much for coming out. Thank you for anyone who's donated during the stream. Make sure you go follow Catskill Records on Bandcamp, YouTube, Twitter, Insta, and also Fake Fever. Before we go, where can everybody find you? And where could they follow you at?
Twitter, which is a totally non-toxic social media platform. You can check me out at fake_fever. I got an Instagram, Fake Fever Industries. Might have to drop that TikTok soon. Not sure about that yet.
Oh, snap.
But either of those two places. I don't know. Just hit me up wherever. Follow the Catskill stuff. And that's it.
Hell yeah. And what we're going to do, just to let the stream go out, we're going to just replay that Dorian live set, that live clip again, if you missed that in the beginning when we first started. So we're going to play that out for you all. And with that being said, everybody, thank you so much one more time. April 2nd, put it in the books. Big things coming. And we will both see you then. Much love. Your boy, Pat Chennington, and Fake Fever. Have a good night, everybody, or good morning, wherever you're from. And we'll see you soon.
See ya.